All right. Hello and welcome to Kovos Menas channel. Jasmine, how's it going?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm doing great, and it's great to have you here as well, taking your time out of your schedule. As you know, this is a Lithuanian MMA channel,
Yeah.
so I'm sure our viewers and listeners would be most interested to hear first about your relationship with Lithuania. So, could you tell us the sort of brief history of the Jasudavicius family and how did you end up in Canada?
Of course, yeah. So, both my grandparents on like my mother and my father's side were my actually not born there. My grandmother and her husband, or my grandfather, they were born there. And then my dad's parents, they were born there, but then my dad was actually born in Belgium. They left Lithuania and like during the war, and then my dad was born in Belgium, and then they moved to Canada. They moved to Canada actually because of the similar climate and
Mm-hmm.
because like the sunlight is like around like the same kind of like you know how it gets winter time for so long there for a while.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
kind of similar to Canada in like that regard. But then yeah, my parents they actually met at a Lithuanian church, and they were in like
Mm.
and they were in like a dancing group and all that kind of stuff. So both of my parents are Lithuanian, so I grew up like eating all like the food and
Mm.
everything. And I did visit. It would have been I think almost 7 years ago now. I was in Vilnius and Trakai, and it was awesome. Like I really enjoyed the experience, and I feel like Lithuania is a very beautiful country. I can't wait to go back one day.
Well, I'm really glad to hear that you enjoyed your time here.
Yeah,
You were born in Canada, though, and I
yeah,
guess it didn't take long for you to notice that your last name sounded a bit different from other kids, right? So,
yeah.
were you curious about like that and Lithuania in particular at a young age? Perhaps you were like taught by your parents about your roots and stuff.
Yeah, so like with the end of the last name changing, depending if you're married or not married and all that, that blew my mind because in Canada that's not a thing. It's just it. I'm sorry, I'll turn that off my message. But yeah, in Canada, your last name it doesn't change. It's just like your whatever your last name Smith. It doesn't change to Smith
Yeah,
S or
yeah,
whatever
yeah,
it
yeah.
may be. And so I remember that being super weird when I was a kid and my parents explaining that to me. But now it's funny because I don't want to ever change, even though it gets mixed up with every time somebody says it around here. I don't want to change it. Even if I was talking to one of my friends today, even if I get married, I don't think I want to change my last name and take kids. I don't know. We'll see, but I think I'm gonna keep it.
All right. Well, that would be really nice if you kept it. um,
Yeah.
how deep are the kind of sort of your Lithuanian traditions in the family? I guess. Do you speak any Lithuanian or?
I don't speak Lithuanian. My parents they do, and but my aunts and uncles and all that they all do. But I'm not entirely sure why my parents didn't teach us Lithuanian because they speak it fluently.
Mm.
But yeah, they never they I I'm not sure. Maybe I should ask them to find out why they didn't teach us. But like my when we go over to my aunts and uncles for Christmas, their whole family all speaks Lithuanian. So I'm pretty good at understanding it. My grandma, she didn't speak almost any English, so I'm pretty good
Mm.
at understanding. But to speak back, yeah, I'm useless.
Well,
But
let's not forget it's one of the more difficult languages to learn as well. So
yeah,
uh,
yeah, for sure.
I don't
But
think
as in,
anyone judges you on that one.
that's good. Yeah. As for like traditions and stuff like that, I mean, I think I not that I know that many. like I know what my family does, and we do the whole like kuches, like before Christmas and all that kind of stuff. And the breaking the thing, I forget what it's called, like the little like crisp. But I loved it when I was a kid. I used to always just try to get more. I loved it.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So we do all like that kind of stuff, and always like the food my mom makes. She's a big she cooks a lot, and it's nice because I taught me to cook a lot as well, and so yeah, I don't cook that much Lithuanian food, mainly because it takes a long time to cook it. And so, like with all training and everything, it's only actually when I have downtime that I have time. But I'll go to my parents' house, and like sometimes my mom and I will make like cepelinams or cookies or something like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
So which one do you prefer out of the two, cepelinams or cookies?
I like them. Yeah.
Nice. With sour cream, I hope. With some sour cream.
Of course. Yeah. That's what sucks. That's what sucks about making weight and like having to diet down, is I can't eat as much sour cream and butter and bacon and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I guess not the perfect diet if you wanted to make weight, to eat zeppelin and kugelis and all of those very tasty dishes, but unfortunately quite calorific. I agree.
Yeah. My friends make fun of me because I eat a lot of smoked fish, and like, well, anytime we're in the grocery store or anything, they see me in the aisle with all the smoked fish, and they're like, "Of course we find you here."
All right, now let's move on to your journey to MMA. You made your professional debut a bit less than 2 years ago, I believe, at the age of 30. So I must ask you, what was your path to the sport of MMA?
So I didn't train MMA before. It's funny, I was at an event, at a UFC event, and one of my girlfriends I was there with, she was like, so I was watching the event, and I'm like, oh, this seems really cool, like I think I'm gonna start training more. And then she's like, yeah, okay, you make the UFC, I'll get your face tattooed on my ass. And then I was like, no way, okay. So then the next day, after we started like talking about it more and everything, she's like, yeah, I'm not joking, if you actually make the UFC, then I'll get it done. And so I started training a lot more, but I really got into it just kind of out of nowhere. I went on a trip with my boyfriend, and he was helping somebody in preparation for a fight, and then so I saw, and I'm like, oh, this seems very cool. I would like to try this. And then so the guy that he was training, he let me jump in and do some punching and kicking on him, and he's like, you're not too bad, you have a bit of natural ability. If you do some training, you'll probably be able to make a run at this. And then I started training more consistently, and now it's like, it's my whole life. I don't know where I was before MMA, in all honesty.
I must admit, it wasn't the easiest task to find much information about you and your career, but I did find a video on YouTube, I believe, of you wrestling. So was that sort of a thing for you for a bit, or?
So I started kind of doing everything all at once. I have competed in a couple of wrestling tournaments. I really, really, really enjoy wrestling. I like everything about it. I like how hard it is, and I like just like the grind that you always have to have with wrestling. My very first match I ever had was at a tournament. It was like a Canada, like a international tournament, and there was a girl. She was an Olympian from Ukraine, and that was my very first person that I ever got matched up with in a wrestling match. So she beat me up so bad, threw me on my head. Oh, it was crazy, but a great experience now looking back, like to see how far I've come.
Yeah, it's good to get those lessons early, I guess.
Yeah.
And starting like relatively late, 30 years old, I must say you've had a stunning start so far. You started
Thank
4-0, 3 finishes, 2 of them in the first round, and then the last fight ended in a split decision that unfortunately didn't go your way. What has been like the biggest takeaway from that fight going into your next bout?
So that fight, I actually thought I won that fight. But I mean, the judges saw it other way, so whatever. My biggest takeaway from that fight was I was really trying to find the finish the entire time, and I was overextending, and I was like pushing. It was like too much, and so I've really kind of like taken a step back, and I'm a lot more patient now, and I don't try to force things anymore. It's funny because you always think that you're doing the right things when you're in camp, but after having a loss, it really lights a different type of fire under you.
And yeah, I mean, I haven't seen the fight, but I did watch the highlights, and from the highlights, I could agree with you. I saw the advantage on your side, but you can never leave it to the judges, isn't that right?
Yeah, exactly.
As I've said in my first message to you on Instagram, your name kind of surfaced on the Lithuanian MMA community on Instagram everywhere, and I think the main reason being obviously your upcoming fight in Cage Fury Fighting Championship 93 that is taking place on the 12th of March. Now you're less than a month away from the fight, so how would you rate your preparations, and what are your thoughts about your next opponent and the fight?
I'm really looking forward to getting back in there and getting back in the win column. So that'll be nice. Her name is Ashley Deen. I don't know very much about her. I don't really pay too much attention about like my opponent because they can change. Everyone's different after every fight, and especially during this time is COVID. So it's like things get shaken up. So I'm really just focusing on myself and in preparation for this fight, and I'm very excited because she looks like she's like down to actually fight, to like get in the middle and throw down with me. So I'm looking forward to that instead of someone that just keeps trying to run from me. So stylistically, I think it's a more entertaining matchup for the fans. This one.
Well, I'm sure the Lithuanian fans will be rooting for you that night, and if they didn't know about this fight now, they'll definitely do.
Awesome.
I believe CFFC is available to watch on Fight Pass. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. It's on Fight Pass, and it's sweet because they even have like a free trial. So if you ever just want to watch the fight, you have to subscribe, but then you can don't have to commit.
Great. Guys, you heard it here. Jasmine is inviting you to get that Fight Pass and watch that fight as it happens. Talking about Fight Pass, CFFC, it's no secret that this organization is owned by the UFC. And I'm sure the UFC matchmakers are keeping a close eye on their daughter promotions, such as CFFC. So is fighting in the UFC your ultimate goal at the moment?
Yeah, fighting in the UFC is definitely the ultimate goal. A lot of the girls that have like been either showed well with CFFC or like had a title fight or something like that, a lot of them have made it into the UFC. So I'm hoping that the trend continues for me.
And do you have any like bigger ambitions when you get to the UFC? I would assume the kind of clear
world champion. That's how you get in there, right? Everyone wants to reach their full potential, and I think world champion's my full potential.
I'm really happy to hear the confidence coming from you, and I think you're a very very promising fighter for just not just Lithuania, Canada, the world in general.
Thank you very much.
Rose Namajunas, former UFC strawweight champion, is another MMA fighter with Lithuanian heritage who's across the ocean fighting. Has she been any sort of an inspiration to you, or would you perhaps would love to fight her eventually when you get to the UFC, knowing you both fight in strawweight weight division?
Yeah, no, she's definitely a huge inspiration, and I love that there's like a couple Lithuanian fighters that are out there, and I think that they represent Lithuania very well. They're all well spoken, and they're all, none of them are like douchey or anything like that. So I really like that Rose represents Lithuania well, and I would love to train with her, to fight her, to meet her, anything. I think she's a very cool person. I watched a couple podcasts when she was on with Joe Rogan and stuff, and she seems like someone that I would actually really like. So I mean, however our paths cross, I hope they cross in some way, and it'd be sick to fight her, depending on if it's 115. She's 115, I'm 125, but I might go to 115. She might come to 125, and but yeah, right. She seems cool for sure.
Well, I think we all would hope that both of you guys, Rose to become champion again, and for you to become champion would be the best thing to happen to Lithuanian MMA, I believe.
Yes.
I do wish you all the best in your upcoming bout, and I hope you'll get like that extra push from us, from the Lithuanian MMA community, from all the fans. And I'd like to speak to you anytime after your fight, and hopefully one day as a UFC fighter. So thank you, Jasmine.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It was great chatting today.